Hello friends, welcome back to Make It Work Tech. Last time we were together, we finished putting together our PowerEdge server, and today we're going to be working on completing some of our recording setup. Some things that I found myself wanting are another camera, and we also need to set up a way to record the screen that we're getting from the PowerEdge to begin with so that I can share that with you. And so that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. First of all, hoping to be able to use this camera right here, my phone. We're going to see if we can't find a way to connect that to our OBS stream to be able to go ahead and port video in from that rather than having to do a separate recording and then incorporating that in the post video. Just make things a little bit simpler for us. The other thing we're going to be taking a look at today is this connection right here. As you may recall, I had talked about putting in a graphics card into the server, and I did do that, but I don't think that it's going to work initially. In fact, I'm questioning whether it's going to be able to be made to work at all. As I did some more research on the server and the manuals on the server, I saw mixed reports about whether or not it would accept just any graphics card. I definitely saw some Dell documentation saying that the only graphics card that it would accept would be a Quadro card, an NVIDIA Quadro. And if you're not familiar with those, they are professional grade cards. They don't always tend to be as fast as, say, your RTX cards, your GeForce series, but they are much more robust. And in some use cases, even though the clock speeds aren't as fast, they are much more powerful. They also, of course, are much more pricey. I took a look on eBay and saw at best being able to get one of those, presumably an old one of those, for something in the range of $150, $200, which probably is a deal. It's probably a deal and a half. But it's not the budget that I want to be spending right now. And also, just for reference point, if you go looking to get one of those cards for new, you are going to be spending multiple thousands of dollars. So that's the type of thing that we're talking about. So instead, what I'm looking at using is the output that is coming off of the motherboard. It's the main output. Even I suppose I'm not certain it's direct off the motherboard. It might be a part of the iDRAC system, but it's what's built into the server. And that is a VGA output. I do have it working coming to my monitor, but that's having some issues. And I also would like to be able to bring it straight into my cam link to get that recording. So I have an adapter here, a VGA to HDMI adapter. This is, when I say adapter, it really is more of a converter than an adapter, and that's something you should be aware of. VGA and HDMI signals are very different type signals. You've got digital signal versus analog signal. You've got some other conversion and power issues there. And so be aware that if you find something that's just a little plug that is purporting to be able to convert your VHA signal to HDMI, be a little bit skeptical about that. This is something you see, it's got a block there in order to be able to contain chips to do conversion. It also is going to be powered. It's a powered unit. It's going to be pulling off a USB for power. So let's see how that works also. So a couple of different projects we're going to be tackling today. And I want to thank you for coming and joining me as we leap into them. So this is one that I don't know if it's going to work or not. This is going to be trying to take the picture straight out of my cell phone, straight into OSB, without doing any additional steps there, just to make it very much more clean workflow when I want to grab something and be able to show you easily instead of having to move it and reset my whole tripod for my camera. So really starting from scratch here, I'm going to switch over to sharing my computer screen, and we're going to start taking a look at that together, see what we're able to find. So I am working in Linux here, using Linux. This is actually Pop! OS that I'm using right now. I do have a tendency to drift between a couple of different distros, between Pop and different versions of Mint for the most part. So that's what we're going to be looking at to begin with. So I'm just going to, we'll start with a search in Pop! OS just to see what will come up there as we Google that. Pretty quickly here. Not seeing something directly for Pop! OS. Pop! OS, if you're not familiar with it, is an Ubuntu derivation, perhaps a little bit more heavily modified than Mint is, but still got that connection there. Seeing this DroidCam is available both on Google and Apple stores, app stores, and so that is a good sign. Is something that should be fairly, obviously not going to be perfect, but much less likely to be something that's not trustworthy. All right. So it says DroidCam turns your Android device into a webcam. Works with a PC client that connects the computer with your phone. Windows and Linux clients are available. There's Dev 47 apps, and we'll research that company a little bit more before we go installing. And there's a pro version with no ads. All right, so that's kind of what I was expecting there. So we will see exactly what we've got there. All right, so here we go. We'll see how this works. We're doing this recording to my screen here. This is a Samsung S21FE. So once again, we're taking a look at this DroidCam webcam for PC. So all right, DroidCam webcam for PC. Just reviewing. Go ahead and install that. Now, we do need to go ahead and go take a look at the Dev 47. We need to get the app on the computer. So dev47apps.com. Once again, as I mentioned, we're going to research this company too. Let's see what Reddit has to say about this. I do appreciate seeing this community. There it is. All right, so easy mag. So doing some review here, it looks like this is something that is well known enough. I'm not immediately seeing any alarms. That's the thing to often see if there's something that you shouldn't be trusting to see folks jumping up quickly to say that this is not something that you want to be using. Obviously, it's no guarantee, but there are times before when I've discovered problems. So we'll go ahead and we will go to this Dev 47 apps here, and we will download the accompanying software there. Go ahead and see how this works for us. So, got download Linux client. I do wish that this website had HTTPS installed. That is not terribly encouraging. Now, this is something that should be talked about. I'm always a little bit leery of just downloading anything and installing it on my computer. I like to have a reputable store to be able to purchase from, just to have a little bit more, not a guarantee of reliability, but a little bit more assurance that I'm not putting malware on my computer. So we'll see the directions. It is, yeah, it is sending us straight to here. And this is a fairly involved process here, but not terrible. So we're going to take a little bit of a turn here. I'm going to do a separate video. We're going to go ahead and set up a virtual machine so that I can do testing of this. It's been something that I've been intending to put on my computer anyhow, just a matter of security, to be able to test things that we're trying out. And it looks like this is definitely a time to do that. This is downloading software from someone who I don't know, who we're not pulling from any standard Linux repository, just pulling straight from their website. There is the potential there to be messing up my system. And so rather than risk that, we're going to set up a virtual machine. I'm going to install my very same operating system here. Just will be a way of sandboxing this, a way of isolating it from my main system to be able to do this test and make certain that what we're working with is clean here before we go and put it on my main system. And so we're going to just put a quick interlude in this video here. And once I've got that up and going, I'll put a marker up here. I'll put a little card up. And hopefully you'll be able to follow that to see us as we set up that virtual machine to test this software. And then we'll come back to getting this installed and set up and going right now, continuing this video. All right, we've got our testing environment set up now. And so we are going to go ahead and start taking a look at this. Start checking out this DroidCam software, making certain, first of all, that it doesn't create any problems for our computer, making certain that it's safe software, and just testing how it works. We'll do all this before we go put it on our primary system, just as a just-in-case measure. I'm going to switch over to our desktop view now. And we're going to come in here, working with VirtualBox. And we did do a video showing how we set this up, but we've got this ready to go now. Here we are running our virtual machine, VirtualBox. And it's running the same operating system we're using on the desktop, really seeking to emulate our desktop environment. So it's not just testing the software in general, but it's really testing how this works on our machine. So we've got our hardware, we've got our operating system. We'll jump on in here. So here we are, we've got our virtual machine running. It is running a little bit more slowly than our main system. A couple of reasons for that. First of all, we've not allocated as many resources to this machine as we've got on our full machine. Also, we've got our primary OS running the same time as our little test bench here. But it's still going to run fine for us. We made certain we got the resources that we need. So we're going to go ahead and come on in here. Just open up Firefox. Once again, be patient with the system. Not running at full speed and power here, but once again adequate for testing. So we have our software already downloaded, and you've got a nice little guide here. Just follow this right here in the Dev 47 apps page there. It gives the install guide there, and so just go ahead and follow through that, and that'll work for you just fine. Got in here, we're going to launch this, got DroidCam comes up. So we're going to go ahead here now and we are going to open up our DroidCam here on the phone. So we've got that set and running. Looks like we need to update our IP here. So go ahead and connect. Alright, and we are running on the phone now. And we'll go ahead and we'll pull up OBS here in our virtual machine. go ahead and add a video capture device then. And we see right there, we've got our DroidCam running. So right there we are. And we can adjust that. Now one of the things to note is that our screen on the phone is going dark. It does that just, power saving standard stuff. But that isn't something that we need to worry about at the moment in terms of what we have going on with the phone. So anyhow, we do see the software working, and we're just going to go ahead and put that down now, because we're going to move on to actually testing not just the software is working, but also seeing what it's doing on our system. So back to our virtual machine. We're going to minimize OBS. We're going to leave that running. We're going to come into our terminal now. And what I want to see is I want to do a net stat, because I want to see exactly what connections are running here, exactly what is happening in terms of the system connections, what's leaving open. So we got the TCP is 5460. We see our connections here. That's our in out there, what's our receive and our sent. We see the port there also, that 4747. It's connected to the phone. And so this is what I like to see here, is that on our TCP ports, we've just got coming in. We aren't sending out at all. We see our OBS there also that's not running. Don't have anything else going out. So everything does seem to be behaving really like it should be behaving. And so that's something that I'm pleased to see. And then I'm going to check one more thing just to see exactly how things are going here in terms of the system processes. And that's top. And top just shows, what's going on in terms of the CPU utilization, memory utilization. Interesting to see here, OBS is really sucking down a honking lot of that CPU usage there. The DroidCam, on the other hand, really isn't using that much, just a couple percent. And I'm not seeing anything else out of the ordinary here. Everything looks like it's going fairly well. I'm going to say that this is something that's fine for us to be using. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to install it on our primary machine now. I'm going to get that up and running, and then I'll be back with you here in just a minute when we've got that ready to go. Alright, now just to make certain that we do have this, we're going to go ahead and display this process here so you can see it as I'm running through this. And so it's important to read exactly what you're doing here whenever you're copying anything into the terminal. Make certain you do understand what's happening. Here we're just going ahead and we're pulling down the file. We see that the file is coming here from those Dev47 apps. And we've got our checksum here to check the file with. And the file has been saved. I think it's saved it into our home directory, looks like there. Did right there. So we're going to use our GTK tester there. GTK hash. There's GTK hash. We've got our SHA1. We've got our check right there. Thank you. We're going to select the file, once again in that home directory there. Not where we would normally save a file, but it is where we happen to do it there accidentally. And close that out there. That did hash there. We've got extra text in there. That's why it's not showing a screen. Alright, there we go. We're lining up there. Excellent. That's what we want to see. So we'll go ahead and we will continue with what we got going here. They're going to use this. This is going to unzip that zip file. Okay. And we're going to change directories here, and we're going to go ahead and install our client. Then we see here this library app indicator gives us our indicator that this is running, and we'll go ahead and we'll just go ahead and we'll install that. It's something good to keep track of. Now let's go ahead and check and see if we have this running yet, or if we need to work on this a little bit more. Okay, and we do need to install that loopback device. So you'll see there that it tells us to install packages, and I should have been paying more attention there. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to be installing those from our standard repository, the apt. So sudo apt install, and then we'll go ahead and cut and paste in there. Clean that up. Wow, that made a mess of that. Copy and paste. Okay. And then we will go ahead and run the install on that. Alright. And we're not going to bother with installing sound. We're not looking for a microphone here today. We're just looking for a camera. So we'll skip over that step. That is something there that could be done apparently. So, alright, let's go ahead and we will get this launched now. There's the DroidCam launcher. Phone IP, we've still got DroidCam up on the phone. It's 192. Got a port there, running over Wi-Fi, enabling video, not bothering with audio, connecting that. Alright, let's swing back here into OBS. And we will add in a new video capture device. Create new. And right there it is. Right there, once again, is our DroidCam. And I'm not going to call it the most beautiful picture that I've ever seen. There we go. There we go. It's coming through. It's a picture. We'll call it that. It is interesting that the focus is not working real great on that. It seems to want to focus very close up. So if I bring it close to my face, that's better. So anyhow, it gives us something. All right, so moving on, it's sharpening focus up there. So be aware that this looks like it's not going to do everything quite as smoothly as you might be accustomed to, but it does give us our camera. And so that's what we wanted for the moment. We're going to use that here in just a minute to go ahead and take a look as we start to hook up this output cable, this converter cable, coming off of the server. We've got our cable here. And we looked at that earlier. Going to go ahead and disconnect everything here from that. You can see all the mess around the DeskLab. So you'll see the server is not on right now. Something just remember, you've got all kinds of lights on the server. The stuff that is just running all the time, even when the server is not powered up. I'll go ahead and set you guys right there. So just something to be aware of, even though it looks like it's not on. We're not powered up, and it's probably something that is good to be intentional about not being powered up as we're swapping these video cables around. I don't think it would massively create a problem for us if it were, but just as a matter of course, it's a better idea probably not to. So we're just going to be hooking in right where we had our standard VGA cable coming in, and plug that in there. So one of the things to be aware of is that as we're hooking this up, we're going to be losing the access to our good camera that we've had over here. Instead, we're going to be sticking with the webcam, and but we'll be able to get our picture directly off of the server now. And this will give us a little something kind of neat and interesting. To this point, I've been using just switching my monitor back and forth, switching cables back and forth to be able to work on the server. Now, instead, we're going to have that server screen coming up in OBS. And so be able to work directly in OBS to a certain extent. We'll still have to switch the mouse and keyboard over, but we'll see how that works, see how it works to actually run the server with the input coming in through OBS. This is not a fast boot up on this server, so just bear with me. And once again, this will be a little bit of an experiment just to see how this works, how well this works also. We're going to go ahead and bring in that input. All right, and let's waiting on this here to hopefully show something. One of the things our cable necessitated was a USB link to power it. And I am slightly hesitant. I'm wondering whether or not that power is being fed at the moment. Once again, we should be seeing in our window up here, we should be seeing the feed coming off of our server. And we're not seeing that just yet. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna try reseating that cam link. No, and the light is on the cam link. Light is up on the cam link saying that it's working, that the cam link itself is working. We'll see. Let's go ahead and let's switch back over to the feed we had here, and you can see here right now exactly what I'm talking about, the cam link. We've got that light indicator right there. So that's looking good. I've plugged in the USB cable, the USB for the converter right there, just to provide power to this system. We're plugged in down there to our VGA, and I have had this system up and running previously, but I also do know that the USB ports can be interesting on this system. So let's swing back over. Yeah, still nothing going there. We're going to add in the cam link to this picture here so we can see that. So add in our video capture device, cam link. There we go. And this might be something that needs some work, and it might be that this whole converter adapter cable is not going to work at all. That is always a possibility. Alright, I'm going to test this system some more, and then we'll see what we've got. We'll come back to this after I've tried to debug this a little bit more. For the moment, though, I'm going to thank you. We do have our lovely DroidCam working, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing that. It does seem to be good software. It does seem to be safe software. I'm going to encourage you to check that out. This converter cable, perhaps I'm not going to encourage you to check that out. I will call it questionable for the moment, but I'll get back to you with a full report either right here in just a second or in a later video. Thank you very much for joining us today, and hope you'll join us next time on Make It Work Tech as we continue to work at our setup here, putting together our DeskLab. Thank you. Alright, well, I figured I should go ahead and give you a report back on what I found. Appears to be just an incompatibility between the cam link and that adapter. I tried running the adapter straight into the monitor, and that worked. Tried running the cam link into another computer, specifically decided to try a Windows computer to see if it might be an operating system, and got the same result. So the adapter is working for converting our VGA signal to HDMI to come into a monitor, but just something about using that with the cam link just isn't going to happen for us. So that's a little disappointing, but it's not a critical problem either. In a future video, we're going to be looking at remote desktop, and that's how we'll be another way that we'll be able to access our server, get what we get our screen view from that, so that you can see that, be able to share that here in OBS so you can see that while working. And honestly, it's going to be a more direct way to be interacting with the server itself too. So anyhow, once again, thank you for sticking around, and thank you for joining us, and look forward to seeing you next time.